Hello, the last time I spoke to you was about the HiFiMan HM1000 portable DAC amp that will be retailing in the region of $4,500 when it is released to the Western world. Surely a niche item and exotica. Today we step back from the exotica and go to the ordinary world of the TWS, the truly wireless earbud. We stay with the same company, but we knock $4,200 off the talking price. TWS Truly Wireless has been with us for just over 12 months. HiFiMan got in shortly after Sennheiser and the like entered the market, and they gave us the TWS800 review on the TWS800, and I had some issues with it, namely in bass, fit and a harsh treble peak. I was able to overcome some of them with a bit of ingenuity on my part. However, the ingenuity has now been given back to HiFiMan to see if they can overcome some of the issues that many of us had with the 600 model. So here, ladies and gents, is the TWS800. I'm going to unbox it, but I'm not going to unbox it live because I used 4 weeks since I've had it to run many miles with it, to put it through its paces and to see what it's really made of in the territory where it's designed for, which is on the go and being pushed hard. Hello, the last time we spoke we were talking about the exotica, the HiFiMan HM1000 portable DAC amp that when it's unleashed to the Western world by HiFiMan, it will sell in the region of $4,500. Now we come to the other end of the market, by no means budget, but at $299, by no means at the bottom end of the budget market, budget end. Retailing at some $4,200 less than the HM1000, we have the TWS800, by no means a budget model in the TWS market. The TWS market is all about on the go and having no wires flapping around you, complete freedom, truly wireless, no wires, none at all. The TWS800 is a direct answer to many of the issues that many of us had about the TWS600. Shown here. The issues that I had with the TWS600 I managed to overcome with a bit of ingenuity on my part. HiFiMan took a listen to some of the issues that some of us had, and using their ingenuity they believe they've come up with a solution, which is the TWS800. Over the course of the next few minutes we'll see if they have. HiFiMan TWS800. True wireless stereo earphone, amazing sound quality, only with a HiFiMan topology diaphragm, is claimed on the cover. aptX and LDAC are not covered on this or any true wireless earphone that I'm aware of. HiFiMan have overcome the limitations of the codec by incorporating a better quality earphone driver. From 600 we go up the scale to 800. This is Bluetooth 5, so they've got very good efficiency, and straight away we've got a bit of bling, haven't we? Here is the case, which will also recharge your device many times over, And here we have the drivers. Shiny. This is where they are held for safekeeping, and you will see that there are 2 slots here and there are 2 pins there. It is simply a case of plugging them in, and we straight away have a red indicator on each driver and an orange indicator at the bottom. So this means that the battery life of the charging case has now gone down to 1 out of 4. So it's 25% battery life left, and these are recharging. When they go to blue, they have charged. 8 severe tips, no complies in these, nothing fancy here. We have an instruction manual, the various functions available to the TWS, which are very much by gestures onto the shell. Warranty, USB-C charger for the case. The shape of the case and the luster of the case is beautiful. I have unfortunately dropped this one, so it's got a bit scratched, but it still looks nice. This is the plastic HiFiMan TWS800 case, and it looks a bit more alien-like, a bit more like a sort of elongated egg shape, a zeppelin shape. So yes, personally I prefer this one, but I can understand why they've gone a bit more of a blingy look. This one is much more resistant to scratches than this one. Look after it, don't drop it, and you've got nothing to worry about. I'll show you what the 600 looks like compared to the 800. 800 is a lot more substantial. When I first saw the difference in the size of the 800 compared to the 600, I thought, oh dear, we're going to have fit issues because I've got very small ears. However, thankfully that didn't appear to be the case. The fit and the shape of the 800 is much more ergonomic. It's a much better shape, and it's much more closer to the contours of an inner ear than the 600. You can fit a lot more of the 800 into your ear than you can of the 600, which looks bizarre given how much bigger it seems to be. But there you go. It's all about the shape. Let's see if we can squeeze these into our ears. First of all, the 800. I've got complies on these, which were not supplied by HiFiMan. Hopefully you can get an idea of the fit of those. And now the 600. $800, $600, $800, $600. I'll put those back to one side because we'll be using those in a minute. I don't think a normal person that doesn't do a lot of exercising would perceive an issue with the fit on the TWS800 once sat down. But believe me, with my ears, no matter what tips I tried, there was no way they were staying in when I was out running. I'm very heavy-footed and very flat-footed when I run. After a couple of minutes, I was having to adjust them to make sure they stayed in my ear. I overcame that, as I say, using some silicone wings that I found online. With the TWS800, I have no such need. No effort or expenses spared in my videos to you. And now you are going to see me sweat. The TWS800's in action. Okay, I'm going to put the earphones in, they instantly connect. As soon as I take the second one out, it's connected with the left, and put some music on. We're off. Wish me luck. Right, well that shows you what they're like in action. So we're going to just pause while I finish my session off, and I'll see you in another 3.5 miles. Okay, I look a bit red-faced because I'm fresh back from my run now. So I did 1.5 miles on the treadmill to show you what it was like being put through its paces. And then I made the most of the autumn sunshine and went out for a 4-mile run. So I'm back now, and I've had a month, in fact, dealing with the TWS800s and comparing and contrasting them with the TWS600s. So I think that I'm now in a position to be able to tell you the strengths and the weaknesses of the 800s and whether they have in fact fixed the issues. The tips that were supplied with the TWS800, none of them were a fantastic fit for me. All of them were letting in unwanted sound and didn't isolate fantastically well. And unfortunately, again, the problem with the TWS600 seemed to rear its ugly head, which was that it was very anemic or even light in the bass, to the point where the bass was somewhat lacking. The pluses: the case I didn't like the look of as much as the alien egg case that the TWS600s came in, but I had to admit it's got a nice shine to it, it's got a nice shape to it, and more importantly, it's much more reliable in being able to get the earbuds to go into an instant charge, and the recesses on the charging cradle are much deeper, so much so that the Comply foams, what I'm using on these, didn't affect their ability to be able to start charging with 100% accuracy so far. The shape of the TWS800s, which I will show you again, I was worried were going to be too bulky, but in fact were a lovely fit into the ears. And for once I've found a way in which I can enjoy decent music sound quality on the go without having to mess around overly with the shape of the earphones. They don't fall out of my ears and I don't have to constantly readjust them. With the ear tips supplied, the bass that was there when I was sat quietly and listening carefully was not up to standard, in my opinion. There are many tips on the market. I have 1 or 2 pairs of earphones, to say the least, and several hundred spare sets of tips. It was a case of doing what is called in the trade tip rolling, whereby you just keep trying different tips out until you find the right match. And being that the earphones seemed to be bass light, in my opinion, straight away my thoughts went towards foam. So Comply foams are notoriously bassy. By a sheer stroke of luck, my ingenuity appears to have paid off. The first set of Comply foams that I found lying around slid onto the TWS800s perfectly, and also added a bass boost. So much so that they don't sound bass light even when I'm out running. With normal tips in, listening carefully, I didn't feel there was any problem with any high horrible peaks in the mids and treble. like the TWS800 suffered from. Even with the fact that we're dealing with some lossy codecs, we're not dealing with aptX and LDAC because TWS earphones aren't able to accommodate them, unfortunately. We've got a better quality driver, tastefully tuned, although, as I say, lacking in the bass. That has overcome many of the inadequacies of the lossy codecs that we're dealing with. You may be sat on the fence as to the pros and cons of TWS earphones. You may be sat on the fence with regards to making the move to TWS earphones. You may be saying to yourself, I'm going to wait until TWS earphones can accommodate aptX or LDAC technologies. You may well think that you can get a better sound quality for your money by getting a wired pair of earphones or a pair of Bluetooth earphones that have the cable between them, which can accommodate aptX technology. I'm not here to tell you whether to take the plunge or not. I have several pairs of wired Bluetooth earphones, and I have a couple of pairs of TWS earphones. I find that my preference when I'm running is with TWS earphones. The slightly lesser sound quality that I get from even the TWS800s were offset by the fact that I didn't have any cables flapping around. And one does become accustomed to the luxury of having no cables making a noise or being very slightly irritating. Up until the TWS800s arrived, I found even with the shortcomings of the TWS800s, I had completed many hundreds of miles with them and used them almost entirely in preference to any other wired or Bluetooth earphones. Even a custom in-ear monitor that I've got, which cost me several £100s, has been set to one side in favour of the TWS's. I just simply found them more comfortable. The TWS800s have a better sound quality than the TWS800. Do I think the time is right for each and every one of you to take the plunge to truly wireless technology? A TWS800 will not compete with a $299 earphone or headphone in terms of sound quality. The sound quality of it is decent enough and is really quite a luxurious sound quality for music on the go. And the fact that I got such a decent fit, I got almost complete isolation from outside sounds. For on the go, I think that the future lies in TWS technologies. I think that the codecs will probably get better, and I think the technology will get better. The sound quality of these is extremely decent for what I'd expect to come from a truly wireless. I think this is quite an indulgence to spend $300, and for that, no matter what technology you're using, you're going to expect a decent sound, and I would say that you will achieve it, provided you can find the right tips for you. You'll get a really good isolation and a decent sound quality from these. But I think that you'll find that foams are the way to go, and that was the only way I could get any real bass out of these. The TWS800s were quite easy to adjust the volume up and down and skip tracks, etc. I have been finding the TWS800s a great deal more difficult, I'm afraid, and although pausing them is a doddle and restarting them likewise, in terms of adjusting the sound up and down, that's very hit and miss with me, unfortunately. I suppose it's just safer and easier to just concentrate on your running. At the conclusion we come to the crunch, do I think these are worth $300? The TWS800s retailed at $200 when they were first released, and these are a lot better technically, and they are a lot better fit, and they're a lot better isolating than the $200 TWS800s. However, I never really thought that the TWS800s justified the price tag of a $200 earphone. The TWS800s have gone down to a far more reasonable price, being a third of that original retail price. $299 is a lot for a pair of truly wireless earphones, and they really have to be sensationally good sound quality. $299 is probably a little bit steep for the HiFiMan TWS800s, with apologies to HiFiMan. They're certainly far better technically and a far better fit, and they look far better than the TWS800s. So that is always the difficulty of talking about new technologies. They're always going to be somewhat higher priced than their more dated rivals. Thank you very much for putting up with me for another 10 minutes or so. This is Trev, Headphones Hi-Fi Reviews, signing off. This is Trev, Headphones Hi-Fi Reviews, subjective reviews, take an idea on headfi.org, signing off. If you've got any comments, and particularly if you're an owner of any TWS earphones, I'd love to hear from you as the pros and cons of what you've got, and any TWS800 fans out there particularly. It would be great to have you on board with a few comments. So if you can, please do, and don't forget to subscribe. If this inspires even one or two of you to look at TWS technology, and it gets you out of your chair and working out either in the gym or on the road or on a treadmill, then I'll be a happy man, because fitness lies in our future, and also it can make the world, in my opinion, a much happier place to be in, because a fit person is a happy person. I will leave that thought with you. Until the next time, cheerio.